I'm Barry Trammell, and the coaching carousel keeps turning, and sometimes we're surprised. Randy Edsall, for example.
I'm going to go with the Mike Haywood situation at Pitt. He was a head coach, and now he's not. From the Opelco Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenni Carlson. Barry, the carousel is turning, and it's turning pretty fast. Some guys getting spit out or maybe left on the sideline, but Randy Edsall was a guy that nobody really expected to be leaving UConn, and now he's gone.
Just out of the blue, he's one minute, literally, he's coaching against Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. The next minute, he's the new coach at Maryland, and nobody in Connecticut had a sniff of this. A week down in Arizona, and nobody had a clue that Randy Edsall was talking with Maryland and might be the Terps' next coach. I talked to Jake Trotter, our man who is still out in Arizona yesterday. He said the Connecticut media was blindsided by this, had no idea it was coming. The Connecticut players said that Randy Edsall said nothing about it in the locker room after the Fiesta Bowl. A total shocker. But I will say this, I applaud a coach who can keep it under the wraps. I applaud a coach who sticks with his team throughout the season, and Edsall did that. The season was over at the final gun of the Fiesta Bowl. So I think Maryland got a very good coach in Randy Edsall, and I think that's potentially good news for the Oklahoma State Cowboys because Mike Leach was considered to be the front runner at Maryland. The Terrapins went for Randy Edsall instead. I know some people don't believe me, but I still say Mike Leach is a viable candidate in Stillwater as offensive coordinator. I think this puts Leach back in the running for Mike Gundy's staff.
I don't know who keeps the secret better, Edsall or Maryland, because, I mean, nobody keeps a head coaching search quite that much under wraps, but both did it successfully. But I tell you that the biggest surprise to me is the head coach that isn't. Pitt hires Mike Haywood a couple weeks ago from Miami of Ohio. He was a hot commodity after Miami of Ohio's success this year. He's the Pitt coach for about 10 days, but then a domestic violence charge over the weekend, and Pitt fires him. They don't wait around. They don't mess around. In a statement issued by the university president, not by the AD, they say that they take these things seriously and that they're going to go in a different direction. Now names like there are names all across the board, everything from Mike Leach to Jay Norvell, two guys that could have an impact on what goes on here. I don't know what's going to happen, but that was a pretty shocking turn of events to go from a guy that they're really excited about at Pitt to firing him. But if you're serious about stuff like that, that's what you do.
Well, here's the question at Pitt. The question at Pitt is not who's going to be the next coach. It's going to be who's going to hire the next coach. Steve Peterson, the athletic director, obviously didn't do his homework. His background checks on the character of this of his new hire, Mike Haywood. He has a girlfriend with a child, and there's some contentiousness and all kinds of things. That's not the kind of person you hire, and it blew up on him within 10 days. What an amazing story. Steve Peterson has hired 2 football coaches in his life. He's hired Bill Callahan at Nebraska and Mike Haywood at Pitt. Are we going to let him hire a third? I don't think so. I think Pitt's going to be in the look for a new athletic director as well as a new football coach.
Sure looking that way. I tell you, they might want to look to Maryland after the way they handled their search. Yeah, this is a pretty shocking development. Pitt, obviously, they looked at Dana Holgorsen. Everybody around here knows that. They passed on him, and it looks like they got a guy that they were really wanting. And, if you go with a search committee of one, like a lot of these athletic departments are doing, there are advantages to that. You can keep it under wraps. You don't let a lot of things out. The decision is on the athletic director. But if you don't vet these candidates the way that they should be vetted, sometimes stuff like this happens. And so, it'll be interesting to see, do they form a committee at Pitt to go after that next coach? Do they maybe look at some candidates that they passed on the first time? I don't know. Maybe they look at Dana Holgorsen and try to lure him away from West Virginia. I would think that would be a tough thing to sell, but you never know. I mean, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they do because, Barry, to me, that's the type of job that you can go and you can win some games. So there's going to be some interest. What they do next, it's going to be really interesting. Hey, stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.